listening to Racing Rewind, brought to you by Sessions, starting the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. Sessions boasts are better than 80% winners to runners, with average earnings close to $100,000.
Arcadia Queenie had a peep over the right shoulder, and she's going to blow them away. Galaxy Star beats Gadding and Material Man.
Welcome to Racing Rewind, proudly presented by Sessions, who stands the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. If you have an opinion, send a text to 0427 789 571. That's 0427 789 571.
Corporate Bruce and home run, but Northerly, Danny Miller pumping away, and Northerly wins the railway from Old Conrad.
Racing Rewind.
Flashed up on the inside.
Lochie Taylor, and we have got First Emergency joins us in Rylie Morgan, fresh from getting Subiaco home against poor old Perth yesterday. Well done.
Thanks, Marty. Good to be here.
Drill those demons. They're no good either. Timmy.
Good morning to you, Marty. Rylie.
How was Idyllic Prince Day, mate?
It was good. A shame that the rain came. I'd love to be a weatherman. They're getting these forecasts wrong a lot.
Didn't it come down in the middle of the day yesterday?
It just snuck in. Even during the morning, I woke up, it was pretty early on Saturday morning. I think it was about 3 in the morning, and it was raining very steadily. I'm very close to Belmont Park. I thought, well, hello. And listening to Inside Running, the downgrade came through then, which didn't surprise me. And then throughout the day...
Got downgraded again.
Yeah. So how did the track play?
Well, as you said, it was a good 4 Thursday or Friday, soft 5 at 8 o'clock come Saturday morning, and then after race 3, I think it got downgraded to a soft 6, but because of how deteriorated the track is at the moment, at no fault of anyone's, it's just at the back end of the Belmont season, it has been tough. It's probably playing worse than a soft 6. There were a few horses that just didn't handle the track yesterday, and whilst it was a soft 6 and on paper you think, okay, they've had every chance and have just performed under expectations, I think you can be a little bit forgiving, because combined with the rainfall that we had yesterday and the fact that the track has been previously quite worn, it's just playing a touch worse than a soft 6.
Okay, Rylie, how did where were the places to be in the run and on the track throughout the day? Your data, what does it tell us?
Yesterday, for anyone that did watch the races, they would have noticed that that those runners that were either leading or on speed were heavily advantaged. And it did surprise me that even after the track was downgraded mid-meeting, that the track pattern didn't really change. And I thought personally, once that rain came down, the track might even out in the middle of the track, might have been the place to be later in the day, but they still struggled to make ground right up until the final race on the card, so it was difficult to make ground yesterday. And as Lochie has touched on, I think you can be forgiving of horses that settled back in the field, making their runs down the middle.
Clean sheet from the steward's room?
Yes, just a reprimand for Clint Johnston-Porter and a severe reprimand for Joey Azzopardi.
Okay, we have got Michael Lane, a special guest, coming on the program a little later on. Just before we commence our review of the big day's racing there at Belmont Park, I do want to mention the performance of a horse that won a Class 6 at Eagle Farm yesterday, and It's Me. It's owned, of course, by Peter Morley and Grand Syndications. This is the horse, the mare who won the Kosciuszko, and then she bowed a tendon, I'm pretty sure. Took a long time to come back. Had a 3-run preparation in February, March and April, and just did not come back at all. And it looked like that her career was over. Brett Kavanagh's done an amazing job with her, and her win yesterday from this Seamus Award mare was unbelievable, to be honest. Flashing home from a rearward position and getting the money there. So well done to the team, to Brett and to Peter and all his team there at Grand Syndications, because a bit of patience and faith has got this mare back, and a 6-year-old, there's good wins in store, judging on that win. I don't know if you saw it, Loch, or not.
No, I haven't. Have to catch a replay.
It was massive. Well and truly worth watching. First event, the free entry to Belmont Park Handicap. It was over the 1,200 metres.
Famous journey, but it's Treverne who makes all the running, and they'd set sail for the judge at the 350. It led by more than 3 Agent J, Divine Pair, a run on the rails, Deus. Western Knight tracking through, Johnston Porter zigging, zagging, getting around their heels, and now into open air. It's Treverne at the 150, the leader by 2 Agent J. Western Knight keeps coming. Treverne, though, had stolen the march on them, and it'll be all the way for Treverne. Treverne won from Western Knight. Big run, Agent J third. Deus ran fourth from Storm Commander.
Well, short stable. Treverne, tell us about the win.
Good win. We had some degree of confidence, not a great deal, but we thought that he'd be a big improver on a drying track. And at that stage of the day, the rain hadn't come during the day. It was only really that morning downpour that you spoke about earlier that the track had received, and it was only a soft 5. I thought he got it really soft out in front. Keshaw went hard probably the first 400, but after that he was really left alone and able to rate the race out in front, and from there was able to give a kick. The big talking point out of the race is Western Knight, and he was very unlucky. I think with clear galloping room, without doubt he wins the race, but Treverne, he's a horse that makes his own luck, and it was good to see him return to form yesterday.
Yeah, I thought that Treverne kicked off the pattern of the day in the opener, leading and winning, and was terrifically rated out in front there by Keshaw, and caught a number of jockeys asleep at the wheel there. I thought they were just happy to sit behind him and let him roll there out in front, and I thought it was a really nice win back onto a drying track, as you said. Western Knight drifted to what I thought was a very backable price there yesterday, and as Lochie touched on as well, was held up once they straightened, but I thought maybe on the side of still got his chance to run down Treverne once he did get out, but wasn't able to. And he, although he wasn't helped by the pattern of the day, this horse still looks quite raw to me in how he goes about things, and I think he still has a little bit to learn before he puts it all together.
Without doubt, that's been the talking points from everyone that has dealt with Western Knight, that he's still very new. He's a big kid still, and that was the case to some extent yesterday, but I think largely he was just very, very unlucky when Treverne is often gone at the top of the straight and Western Knight is hemmed away in between and behind runners. It just makes such a difference, and that's how we see leaders win time and time again, when they're making their own luck out in front and other horses are held up. It's always very hard to run those leaders down, but still, very good effort from Western Knight. I think he'll be winning next start. Agent J was another honest effort. I don't think he's quite come back as well this campaign. I think he's better than what he's showing at the moment. Deus was an honest performance, but other than that, there wasn't much to report.
It's always good to see the Vernon All Colours carried to victory there yesterday with Treverne. He's been a long-time owner and a fantastic guy over the years.
And a great owner at that.
Yeah, he
lets you do whatever you want.
Yep.
And you're always very, very happy for Vern and Trevor, one of his good friends, when Treverne gets the job done.
And there'll be more wins in store too, I think, there for sure. Race number 2, the Crown Towers Plate, was over the 1,200 metres.
Back in the field is Zena and a Saloon Bar, Mac, followed then by Divine Judgment, Sisu Warrior. They balance up by the 350, Universal Flair, about to be challenged on the outside by Swim Through, and now Baby Paris. Here's Baby Paris winding up, getting right up on the inside to grab Universal Flair. Universal Flair headed by Baby Paris. Saintorio and a Zena both run on, but Baby Paris draws away from them late. Another one for Baby Paris, beats Saintorio. A good runner, Zena third. Close up as well here.
It was a much anticipated race, and I think it delivered. There were runs in this race that you can go all the way down to Sisu Warrior was a pass mark. So tell us about the win first off of Baby Paris for Colin Webster and Peter Nucky going up the inside, and then the place getters behind it.
Very good win, and I really like this race as a form reference. I think there are a number of good 3-year-olds in this race. Did you touch base with your mother after this race in her colours?
She's very happy.
Very happy. Good to see. Baby Paris gets the job done again. Peter Nucky, outstanding ride. 1 out, 1 back in the first 200 metres of the race. Interestingly, he went inside and up the rail when Universal Flair just rolled off just slightly, but Baby Paris, I think she's just... whilst it wasn't as dominant as the first up win, I think this was a stronger race, but I just love the fact that she puts herself on speed and then has a turn of foot at the end of her races still. I think that's going to hold her in very, very good stead. That tactical speed that she possesses. I think that's the greatest strength that she has. But yeah, I really like this filly, and I really like this race as well.
A little unrelated, but gee, it just puts into perspective the strength of the form that Amelia's Jewel will carry with her whenever she resumes. She was able to spot this horse a huge start in that Karrakatta and take care of her with ease, and she's a very classy horse in her own right there. Baby Paris. But in terms of the other runners, I thought the run of Saintorio was terrific, and it isn't usually a formula that I particularly like trialling on the Monday into racing on the Saturday, but SJ is one trainer you would not question in doing so.
There's a few old punting rules like that a lot of people don't like. Out the window with SJ. Yep. I've seen it that many times.
He is certainly one trainer you would not question in doing so. And the way that he resumed yesterday suggests that he's in for a very nice campaign, and he will be one of my follows of the meeting. But although on face value maybe a touch disappointing, Saloon Bar was just very green. But once Sean O'Donnell got that whip into the left hand late in the piece, I thought his final 100 metres was better than anything else in the race. And I'm certainly not giving up on him as a horse. The way he raced, he will take great experience from that run and be far better for it the next time we see him, and he's certainly a follow as well out of this very strong form reference moving forward.
Listening to Mac down the line, he likes the shape of the horse. Azina ran well.
Super run. I thought the debut win was enormous at Northam, and then rattled home into third yesterday afternoon. So that's why I really like this race as a form reference. I have so much time for so many of these runners. I look through the placings and I think, that can win on a Saturday, that can win on a Saturday. Universal Flair bolted in on a wet track last start. I think if she finds another wet track, she's going to be really hard to run down. Hear My Prayer, I think, is a Saturday type over 1,400 metres. And Saloon Bar, that was such an eye-catching run, as Rylie said. As soon as Sean O'Donnell put the whip through to the left hand, he just sprouted wing. So really good. One of either 1,400 or blinkers and stay at 1,200 metres, he's going to improve greatly. And just because of how green he was yesterday, you'd think he'd come on greatly just from the experience that he received yesterday afternoon too.
I'm adding in Sisu Warrior again, boys, because fastest sectional of the race, 34.77, and it's screaming for ground, this horse.
That's what I mean.
Yep. It's
a lot of these.
There's going to be a lot of winners come out of this race.
Baby Paris, I think. What do you guys think? Do you think 1,400 would stretch her?
Well, as Peter Nucky said after the race, she doesn't have to go there yet. So why rush her to get there? Like if the Placid Arc's her race, then let her get there and then work it out after that.
That's what I think. I think the Placid Arc is her race. Reading between the lines, it sounded like she might have a little break now, and then perhaps head into a Placid Arc second up. There's the Placid Arc Prelude 2 weeks before, and then obviously the $500,000 Placid Arc. I think she's a sprinting type rather than a playing god that gets over ground 14, 16, 1,800 metres.
Yeah, and I think Nux made the point, didn't he, post-race in the interview, that he knew that pace was on. They were going really quickly, and he was quite happy just to, just stay out of it a little bit and give her a bit of time and not chase the pace, which is important because it may have exposed her late. So, terrific ride from Nux.
Outstanding ride, and that's what I was saying earlier. I think her tactical versatility and her professionalism in races, I think that's going to take her a long way.
It's not that easy to do what she did there yesterday. It's a better win than it looks if you pull it apart, particularly for that type of as you described her, as a busy type of
to relax
3-year-old.
Yeah.
Bill from Baldivis, good to see the local bookies betting competitive prices yesterday. Often prices available better than the online bookmakers. Example, $2.25 was available Nero Dio when it was trading online at $1.85 or less. Keep it up, fellas. So, pat on the back to the local bookies there. Bet with a bookie, do it locally. Race number 3, and this was a tab touch, West Speed Platinum Handicap over the 1,600 metres.
6.5 to go, Bella. Pam Bella down near the inside, then Censure. Zero Consequence to the outside is next, and last is Frosty Bell, but Noble Born, given a shaken up in front here, dashes away from Sessions Peak. It's in full flight, Noble Born. The 200, 6 in front now from Arnie's Boy and Go Bella. Zero Consequence and Censure inside the 100, getting a little weary, but with a massive margin. Nobleborn's going to destroy them. Nobleborn finished up winning by about 4.5 to go, Bella. Tight go third. Arnie's boy Sencha, the roughie, came late.
Made never, ever going to lose, was it, Nobleborn? It was just travelling beautifully out in front for Paddy Carberry, Simon Miller, Gabello, Arnie's boy Sencha, a nice run behind him with Zero Consequence. I don't know where we are with this horse at the moment.
A really well-rated ride from Pat Carberry out in front. As you said, at the 500-metre mark, you could just see the horses in behind and around Nobleborn were off the bridle, and from there, Paddy kicked clear. As we said earlier on in the program, with the win in regards to a horse like Traverne, obviously aided by the pattern of the day, but still a really good win. And I think just being able to step up to the mile and find the front at a more gentle tempo in that first 200 metres, I thought that was the big reasoning behind Nobleborn getting the job done yesterday, and she looks like an out-and-out miler. Whether she gets any further, I'm not sure, but as Marty alluded to with Baby Paris, I don't think you'd in a great rush to stretch her out over any further unless you want to target a little bit of West Speed Platinum bonuses over 1,800 metres. But a really good win, and I think Simon and the team have found the key to this horse, and that's just getting over a little bit more ground.
Yeah, I thought the trip might see her out a little bit yesterday, just sort of going into doing the form for that race. But this was a really strong win by Nobleborn, complemented obviously by the pattern of the day, which meant once she was gifted the top quite easily, it was always going to be incredibly difficult to get past her. But in terms of the beaten brigade, the format of these West Speed Platinum races leaves a fair bit to be desired, I think. So while I won't suggest a horse to follow out of the race, it was a very strong win by the leader. But I just think that maybe the strength of this win, and when you take into account the margin and the pattern of the day and how easily this horse was gifted the front, she most likely goes around under the odds the next time we see her.
Couldn't disagree with that. I like the run of Sencha at a big price, running into fourth. Ryan Hill, a new acquisition for him. I thought that was a really good effort. Zero Consequence, I'm not sure where he's at. He's a horse that I thought would really go through the grades this campaign. Maybe just not going as well, getting his toe into the ground. Perhaps be forgiving and make a proper judgment on Zero Consequence when he's back on top of the ground. My Fury was favourite. I thought would be very hard to beat. Perfect ride from Holly Watson. 1 out, 1 back. Couldn't have given her a better ride. Post-race, she advised to the stewards that the mare failed to handle the track conditions.
You're just back on Zero Consequence. When that horse beat Positive Impact on a good track at Northern...
Your jaw was on the floor.
Well, it was actually. At $1.40, I'll tell you, $1.24 I think it started at. I was certainly not involved. So, but the word snuck out from Northern that Adam had a very high opinion of this horse. And so that's make you feel better moment. Don't know if you took the $1.24, does it matter? But since then, it's been on a soft 7, heavy 10 and a soft 6.
Yep.
And has run 3rd, 5th and 5th. So
and on that day, good 4.
Good 4. So maybe before we sack him, it could be best to wait till he gets on top of the ground again, as you alluded to. Race number 4, the Morley Growers Market Handicap over the 1,600 metres.
450, and that's Funny As by a length, 3/4 and only a half now. Buster Bash put pay to it quickly. West River Miracle about to join in as Blinder goes for a run inside of those. At the 250, Buster Bash, he kicked a length now. West River Miracle. Warwick had to get the stick into the left hand. He's coming again. Buster Bash, Harvey hard at work. West River Miracle trying to cut the margin. Blinder down on the inside. Buster Bash though, he's finding it. Buster Bash, West River Miracle. Buster Bash has won it. Buster Bash beat West River Miracle and Blinder close up.
Pondered his best. Buster Bash, West River Miracle and Blinder back in 3rd. They gapped it back to So War in 4th.
We were just discussing off air, when you watch these races live, and for example, say you're on a horse like West River Miracle, you have the back of the horse you want to be following in the race. More often than not, the horse that is following the other horse gets the job done.
Yep.
But when Paul Harvey is outside the leader and you're following Paul Harvey, you just have this massive sense that nothing's going to get past him, and that was exactly the case yesterday afternoon. Really good win. Third up, out to the mile, well supported in betting. Just really like this horse. He's honest, he's tough, and I think he's just going to keep on winning.
Yeah, this was just textbut Ponty yesterday on Buster Bash, wasn't it? Wasn't able to get to the front in his most favoured role like we suspected, with That's Funny As drawn to his inside there, but punching the breeze throughout. Once West River Miracle loomed to challenge this horse in the straight, Pont just lifted him the way he does so well, and in the end was quite comfortable, I thought, on the line. And this horse's chances undoubtedly increased with the track downgrade and the rain we had received by this stage of the day. But at this stage of his prep, no matter what sort of ground he's on, he's always going to be hard to beat. He's rock hard fit, puts himself on speed, and the faster they go for this horse, the better for him, I think, with some of the figures he has posted in really fast run races previously. And West River Miracle as well was very brave and never gave up the chase. It wasn't his day yesterday, but there are more wins in store for him, and he's a horse that is seemingly getting better and better with racing for Dan and Ben Pearce.
Agree. At the mile, I thought that was another really good performance, but he seems to relax really well in his races. It wouldn't surprise me to see the boys step him out in trip now, just to have a look, see if he runs 2,000. If he doesn't, then you know for the rest of his career. But my gut feel is that he will, so perhaps most people and most races in WA where you step them up in trip, the weaker they get, so that might be an option for the Pearce boys. Blinder was good, but every chance I think he's just chipping away. Hopefully he breaks through soon, and other than that, I don't think there was too much to report. That's Funny as the leader, maybe slightly disappointing, but he's been out of form for a little while now.
Race number 5, the Amelia Park Handicap. It was over the 2,200 metres.
Quickened by Warwick at the top of the straight. A length clear Alimentaria. Over on the outside, pulling around them now. Kazkazi being asked for its effort. Overthought sticks on Will. Dancing Jack behind those. Choose Freedom. Luke's Piero not doing enough at the moment. Kazkazi, Alimentaria, Overthought. Dance of the South battling back. Further back, All Man, Luke's Piero. Overthought, though, reaches the lead. Overthought gets the better of Kazkazi. That's a grand win. Fighting performance after being wide all the way by Overthought. Overthought beat All Man late. Grab second, I'd say, from
Great
Luke's
to see
Piero.
Fenella Martin and Jeff and Overthought winning, betting All Man and Luke's Piero. Of course, they got a mention earlier on in the day as well with Baby Paris and the work they've done there.
They did. Obviously, the barrier gurus.
Yep.
Great job. I think this mare has been going really, really well all preparation, and in the first 400 metres you thought, oh no, Overthought has found its race, and then all of a sudden has lobbed 3 deep the trip. But I actually recall her running some really good races with Galloping Room 3 deep the trip. I almost think she thrives on having that galloping room, and that appeared to be the case yesterday because she travelled really well into the race and was just the toughest horse late. Really good win, and whilst it wasn't a strong race, a graduation handicap re-handicapped to a 57 plus. Overthought, she goes around at each way prices more often than not and rarely runs a bad race once she gets into form.
Yeah, this was a huge win once you take into consideration the run she had in transit, coupled with the pattern of the day, and that those who settled close to the speed were at a distinct advantage. And as you said, Lochie, she's no star, but she always gives 110%, which you can clearly see by the way she races, and she'd be a terrific horse to own for connections there. It was her 6th run for the prep and her 3rd run at the staying trip, so by yesterday she was rock hard fit and ready to peak, and albeit in a moderate race, she did it the hard way and did it very well given how softly she won on the post. And despite Steph Bakranich on the Hour of Power Friday morning saying this was most likely going to be an end of prep run for All Man, he covered some extra distance in the run there yesterday and was strong late through the line. And although not hopeless on softer ground, he's a horse that certainly improves onto dry surfaces and is another consistent stayer in this grade.
Really good run. Luke's Piero off the 3-day backup off a slightly disappointing performance on Wednesday afternoon, albeit they absolutely walked on in that race. I thought that was a really good effort running into 3rd. He seems like an honest, tough stayer in this type of grade. Kaskazi loomed, may have just peaked on his run slightly late. I thought he would fight out the finish a little closer than what he ended up at the 200 metre mark.
Travelled into the race really strongly on the corner yesterday.
Yeah, whether he runs 22, I'm not sure, but yeah, all honest, Overthought.
Listening to Racing Rewind, Rylie Morgan, Lochie Taylor, Marty Young with you. It is 10 degrees here in Perth. We'll take a break.
You are listening to Racing Rewind. Brought to you by Sessions, standing the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. Breeders of demerit consider Sessions, who is also a son of the highly successful Longo.
So, 2 lengths back then to Dashing Image, Doom Buggy. Yankee Lima drops out. Frequent Fryer can't win. It's Lunch Session in front by 2 lengths. Here's Kennedy, a length and a half away now, making ground, and now deeper. Boom, Boom, Sweet trying to come on, but Lunch Session's kick clear. Yule's going to get 3. Dick Leach has got 5. Lunch Session wins the Kununurra Cup for 2022. Defeats Boom, Boom, Sweet, and third, Kennedy. Fourth, we had Dashing Image, then Doom Buggy.
There it is, the replay of the Argyle Engineering Kununurra Cup, and as Alex Vlahos rightly called, another big day for Dick Leach up there, Loch and Rylie. 5 winners in a second, and he won the Cup.
Massive day for Dick Leach. I don't know a lot about Dick, but Darwin, just looking at the results, looks like he trains out of Darwin, perhaps, but 5 winners on a 6-race card with the Cup. It's a good day.
And Kira, you rode 3 of them, but all reports another big day up there at Kununurra. A massive crowd, well called there by Alex as well.
Those horses that come across from Darwin to these races in that part of the state always seem to bring the strongest form with them, don't they?
They certainly do. On to race number 6 there at Belmont Park yesterday, the Reliable Asset Maintenance Handicap. It was over the 1400.
Ginger Baker fourth in the middle. Gold Merits is outside of those in a bunching field. Then Secret Statue, who's off the track in front of Deputano. Coley looking for the shortest way home, but Benji's now stoked up in front. Races clear. Gold Merits in pursuit. Secret Statue, Ginger Baker not doing enough behind them. Benji's rolling right back towards the rail though with a clear margin. 100 left to go. It's all Benji's. Benji's is going to absolutely annihilate them. All interest in the minor placings, but Benji's races home to win, goes back-to-back, scored by 3.5. Ginger Baker got second from Gold
Big
Merits.
wins there yesterday. Loch, here's another one. Benji's almost 4 lengths over Ginger Baker, Gold Merits, and Coley back in fourth.
It's funny how things can work with horses sometimes, and I loved the post-race interview from Scott and Michael with Cliff and Stevie. It just spoke about the relationship between Steve and Cliff and the trust that Steve has in Cliff and vice versa, and basically, Steve was really concerned about the draw and how the track was playing up to race 6. Steve, being the astute jockey he is, he had identified, as most people had, that you needed to be on speed to win, and he was worried about that. So he went to Cliff, spoke about how he wanted to try be closer, because I think most people thought from barrier 8 of 9, Benji's would drop out the back, 3 deep with cover, loop them, loom, and go awfully close. But Steve, he tried to lob a spot a little bit closer with the backing of Cliff, but in the end, the speed slackened. There wasn't a spot to get that cover, and he rolled forward. And in the end, whilst, as we've touched upon, that was the place to be, leading out in front, I think this might be the way to ride. Benji's just, for mine, he's either immature or he's a little bit of a thinker, and I think out in front, out of trouble, we saw the best of Benji's yesterday. And I don't think 1,400 metres is his trip either. I think 16, 18, up on speed, making his own luck. I think this horse has a lot of ability, and now as a 5-year-old, having his 15th start, hopefully the penny has dropped and he can really go on with it from now.
I agree completely. I thought this was the ride of the day by Steve Parnham here on Benji's, and it looked like he might be destined to be caught wide early, but Steve was able to take him to the top. Interestingly, you'd anticipate nobody was overly keen to lead in this race, despite the fact that by this stage of the day, you'd think most jockeys would have had a gauge on how the track was playing, and this is a horse that's shown he can sustain a run from a long way out, and once he was able to get to the corner without anyone putting some real pressure on, it was all over. And in terms of why he wasn't very popular in betting there yesterday, I think most people, me included, were maybe just a little underwhelmed by that win last start at Northam, and even though he did win the race with the big weight, you only need to go back to the run prior when he was arguably the run of the day behind Multinational on that heavily cutaway bias track to know that this horse is flying for Cliff Green as well. So that's just potentially why there wasn't much support for him in betting, but it was a super win and a super ride there by Steve Parnham, and they absolutely jumped out of trees to back Ginger Baker yesterday. That was some serious money.
It was. I thought he was a super run, Ginger Baker. He's not a horse that I think of as a sit-and sprinter, and Lucky on Gold Merits held him in a pocket. He got out late and really found the line well. I thought that was a super run by Ginger Baker. I think you're a little hard done by if you had backed Ginger Baker at an early price, and obviously started 2.10 because I did think he was a little unlucky, whether he wins or not. In the end, Benji's won by almost 4 lengths.
I thought he was very unlucky in terms of he looked to land in a lovely spot when Little Flirt crossed and looked like they were going to lead there. But once Little Flirt handed up to Benji's, he ended up 3 back the fence, which if you were an owner or punted on Ginger Baker, it was a difficult little spot to be in there. Now 3 back the fence and found himself in a bit of traffic rounding the corner. And by the time he did get out into clear galloping room, the race had already been run and won.
Spot on. Gold Merit's in third.
You fancied this horse a little bit on Thursday?
I did, on a good 4. Yep. Yeah, we were really disappointed that the rain came, and she's shown back during the summer at Ascot. She's only a little mare, but she can really let rip the final 200 on top of the ground. She's won on a heavy 8, but I just don't think she's as effective on rain-affected tracks. Back on top of the ground, she actually has a really good kick for 200, and with the run she had yesterday, I thought she probably should have finished a little bit closer, but Lucky keeps coming back and saying she just doesn't feel like the same horse on a soft track, so we're just waiting for a nice track for her.
Coley could be a nice horse for somebody to buy. It'll be on the online sale, or if it's not already on that, I think that new one's kicked off, hasn't it, on Inglis, so it's probably on there at the moment.
What's he rated? 66 in the metropolitan area?
He probably didn't really butter up as well as we thought with the run that he had, but he'd be a nice buy for somebody.
Absolutely. His rating, having only won 3 races, Geraldton, Kalgoorlie, you'd have a lot of fun with him.
Happy with Deputano's run. I thought she may have been more forward in the run than she was, over-raced again, but she actually hits the line pretty well, held up in the straight, so Roy seems to think he's got her back on track. So
MJ Young, that bloke will be finding a race for her.
Hopefully we can find a race, maybe the midweeks in a fortnight or 10 days. Race number 7, the Naranda City Football Club handicap over the 1,000 metres.
Next of all is Sunny Silk, followed by Go Forward, and last of all is Alien from Mars. Into the home straight, though, they balanced up on the baldy face. State of Power led the way from Cashaway. It's State of Power, took them to the 250, a length and a half. Cashaway, Pixie Chicks had run to third. State of Power, Cashaway come together. It's Cashaway on the outside, battling back. State of Power, Cashaway, State of Power. Bullocks away back on the inside. Cashaway, head bobber. What a great finish it was. State of Power, Cashaway, a tooth and nail battle to the line.
Well, it was State of Power for Holly Watson and Simon Miller, betting Cashaway, Pixie Chicks, and Go Forward back in 4th.
Began well, and Holly used her initiative as she is at the moment with a lot of her rides, and went forward, crossed. I don't think many people thought she'd lead, but she has always shown good tactical speed. But when you have the likes of an Olga Louisa over these 1,000-metre journeys, nothing's getting near the lead when she's in the race. But without that type of horse engaged, State of Power found the front, obviously the place to be. Cashaway settled outside the leader, and it was evident at the top of the straight that nothing else was really going to get into the race. But State of Power, really well-deserved win. I was rapt to see her get the job done yesterday for Simon, Holly and the Zito boys and the rest of those connections, because she really has deserved it.
Did you stick fat, Marty?
I did. I wasn't going to let her get under the guard, but I didn't tip her. We tipped something else in the race, didn't we?
Spirited Session, wasn't it?
Yeah, Spirited Session. Yeah, no, back them both. Little profit there.
Yeah, ultra consistent mare, State of Power, and deserved to get a result.
You know that.
Certainly. Deserved to get a result like she did yesterday. If you were on Cashaway, it was a sick watch. This horse looked like he was going past twice in the straight there, and wanted to lay in a little bit, which made the latter stages of the race a little more difficult for Joe, but State of Power was really brave to kick back once he loomed up alongside him. And a couple of runners went super here from off the speed, particularly Go Forward, who certainly appreciated getting back onto a not as softer surface. And this horse has posted some proper figures on dry tracks in his career to date, and had to check off heels passing the 250 metre mark. But once they straightened up, I thought the way Go Forward defied the pattern yesterday and hit the line back onto a good 4. He certainly has more wins in him for the Gangemis. I thought that was a super run.
Massive, and with clear galloping room at a crucial stage, you can make a case that he should have gone closer, but as you've touched upon, hit the nail on the head. I think just back on a better surface, he was a big improver. Harmika, 310 favourite in the end, post-race, Clint Johnson-Porter reported that she wasn't suited to the track conditions of yesterday. I think you just have to take that on face value and agree with Clint because she was very disappointing, beaten 4 lengths.
Pixie Chick's another runner who I thought went really well fresh and no doubt has some improvement to come. Horse landed in the box seat and still reeled off one of the better last 600-metre splits of the race, and she's a Magic Millions winner, has never won first up and always gets better the deeper she gets into her preparation. So follow her, as I think she certainly has another win in store very soon.
Okay, main event of the day was the Idyllic Prince Stakes, taken out in brilliant fashion by Resort Man. We'll listen to the replay, have a chat then with Michael Lane, the trainer of Resort Man, who's absolutely flying.
In the Idyllic Prince, 400 left to go. Caracapo swings for the judge. Tackled by Western Temple. Star Align. Resort Man let down with a run, and he got a break on Nero Dio at the 250. Resort Man, he led more than 2 lengths. Nero Dio trying to pick up and rally, but Resort Man for the moment clear of the favourite Nero Dio. Rolling back to the inside. Resort Man rebounds today on top of the ground. Resort Man won the Idyllic Prince from Nero Dio.
Yes, he adds the Idyllic Prince to the Bolton win a month ago, and Michael Lane would be a very happy man today, I'm sure. G'day, Mick.
Good morning, Marty.
And the boys are here as well, Lochie and Rylie. But first off, how did he pull up?
Yeah, he seems good, mate. I done the work this morning, so he seems to have pulled up pretty good. He's been out the paddock all morning, so he seems bright enough.
What is it with you trainers the minute you do a bit of work? You want to tell everyone you're working?
Well, I'm like you. No, you the stages are up Sunday morning, so good on you, boys.
Oh, you bit your tongue then, didn't you?
Yeah, mate, yeah, you probably worked 20 hours too. So.
I think Marty almost had your hook, line and sinker. You fell for the bait.
I don't know if we're whinging about it, but just letting you know,
Yeah.
It's easy to wake up when you're working with horses like Resort Man. Well done on yesterday's win, Laney. Prior to this campaign, he had obviously had his well-documented issues. How long ago did you think you had this horse back somewhere near his best? Because this campaign, you could argue, has been his best preparation yet.
Yeah, well, obviously, his last campaign was off. So his last campaign was off the long break, so it was obviously a year or so out, and he come into his last campaign, and I thought his last campaign was really good, but then obviously bouncing off that preparation into this preparation, obviously that long layoff, then he had that good prep, then had a nice little break, and then he really coming back in a lot more, he's naturally a lot fitter from the last prep, and yeah, he just come back better. I know he's just come back sounder than he ever has, and it's just, I don't know, for whatever reason, he's definitely, at this point in time, he's definitely as sound as I'd say he's been. Saying that his last start of his last prep, he actually took a couple of little flakes off his knee, tiny little chips off his knee at that last start of Ascot. But then he's gone out for, I think he went out for 10 weeks, and then he's come back into this prep. So, yeah, he's quite at it. What he called them sort of horses, they just come back and they just keep on doing it time after time. So, and we didn't do nothing to his knees. We just left them where they left them in there, and he sort of deal with that. But for whatever reason, this prep he's been a lot sounder than most preps. So, that's probably why he's had the best prep he's had, I suppose, Lochie.
Funnily enough, it appears he just thrives on galloping room, and his 2 best career wins to date have been when he settled 3 deep the trip both times. Can you put that down to anything?
Yeah, I think even when Sean won on his last prep at Ascot, it was a bit the same. I just think he does need a bit of room. He obviously appreciates it. He's a big horse. He is a bit touch field shy, not quite sure, but obviously we had blinkers on him at one stage, and we took him off this prep and he could settle in a bit more. I don't know, he's always been a bit keen in his races and that, but he's starting to relax a bit too, which helps out. So, I obviously just like that bit of room. Like, he definitely goes better outside the horses, that's for sure.
What's next for him?
He'll go to Farnley. We'll see what play. He's really going to be top weight now, so that'll... but everything going well the next 2 weeks, that's where he'll go, and then we'll probably pull up stumps, I would say. and make a plan with him now. I mean, once you get to this higher up in the ratings, you obviously just start, we plan to go into these races. Obviously, this is what we picked out for him, and I thought he could, if I picked up one, I'd be racked, and I thought that's where he was at. When I knew I might blow a few points, but I was obviously with his soundness issues over the years. It's probably time to say, well, it's now or never. So, look, I don't know. We'll go to the next one, Lochie, and then we'll sit down and have a think about it.
As you said, you head to the Farnley in a couple of weeks' time. Beyond that, do you think he could measure up to some of our bigger races throughout the carnival, or do you think he's a peg below that? I
think he's a peg below that. It's obviously like different winter racing to summer racing. We all know that. So, it's a big... I mean, no disrespect to the field yesterday, but they're winter horses, basically, and I'm sure he'd be competitive, but whether he's doing the same job he's doing now would be another thing.
Fair day at the office for you yesterday, Michael, with Damien in form, race to race, wins at McNeil and the McCafe Stakes there at Caulfield.
Yeah, it was great. I watched him all day. Sort of the start of the spring, isn't it, sort of thing. So good, couple of them kicked off nice. Jack and A was really good. His horse he stuck with all the way through as a young horse. But he'd come back and do that. It was very, very pleasing for him. Yeah, and obviously I thought obviously the good horse in the Group 1, I thought he ran well. So we just ran out of steam.
Western Empire.
Western Empire, yeah. I think he just ran out of steam, but I'm sure he'll kick back pretty quick. He's a pretty smart animal, I think. So, look, all in all, great day for Damien, and obviously great day for my stables. My stables does a great job with the resort, man. He takes a bit of care, so as most of the decent, when they get to that level, they do. Everyone says it's easy to train a good horse, but I mean, good horses take a bit more extra care, and they've got them sort of problems. They get do extra work, a lot of extra hours to their horses' legs and all the rest of it. So, but that's very rewarding when it comes off, and for the staff as well as myself.
Coming through the end of what would have been a very long winter for you down there without having the race course to train at, how's it been?
Yeah, it's been pretty tough, Marty, to be honest, the last couple of years. I don't know whether, it's affected my business big time, and it's obviously very hard on my staff and myself, going up the Collie, driving now up the Collie and back, and with my horses and that, and it takes its toll. I won't say it won't, it doesn't, so... Yeah, look, it'll never be something, the years, we'll never get them back, to be honest. I think it'll be years before my actual business actually gets back on track, for what it's cost. I wish we had great success at Bunbury. We're at Bunbury, and you train them winners, it sort of rolls on, with people getting into horses, and it affects the whole business model. So I could have moved. I probably should have, in hindsight now, maybe I should have got up and moved. I've got 2 young kids that go to school down here. It would have been a big thing for me. I've got my farm with with our brood mares and our adjustment and that. It would have been a big thing for me to move to Perth. But I don't know. Maybe I should have had a dual stable up there. I'm not quite big enough to do it, but maybe I should have. But yeah, it's been very taxing, that's for sure, Marty. But hopefully there's some light at the end of the tunnel somewhere.
Well, makes a win of Resort Man even more important for you and your stable. Well done, Michael. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, boys.
There is. Let's go back now and pick up with the beaten jockeys after the Idyllic Stakes.
Jason Whiting, Jericho Missile.
Yeah, not too bad a run. He travelled in it really nice. It just didn't quite finish off as well as his travel.
Yeah, Darty, Sean O'Donnell.
Yeah, fantastic run. 9-year-old first up today. Can't complain. If he can improve a little bit to the Hannons or whatever, he's going to be in the money somewhere. Thank you.
Lucy Warwick, outrageous.
Followed the winner. Maybe doesn't like the way. It's pretty disappointing late.
Jason Brown, Caracapo.
Yeah, he's just not running well at the moment, whether it's the tracks, but he just has to come forward a fair bit.
Clint Johnson Porter, Starline.
No, very happy with the run. Ended up a bit closer today, and he attacked the line strong. He's going to be good when he gets on top of the ground at Cow.
Lakdar Ramoli, Nero Dio.
It was a very good run. Just got boxed when I wanted to go out, but another is really good. Thank you.
Floyd, Brad Parnham.
Yeah, it was a little bit plain today. He fell out the gates, just didn't really seem that interested, so he'll probably have one more chance and see how he goes.
There it is, beaten jockeys, that young fellow doing work experience there. We may keep him on, Rylie. He did a pretty good job.
He did do a pretty good job there, didn't he? He's filling in for Mickey Heaton there.
Yeah. And Jules before that.
And Jules as well.
It's been a while.
What do we make of the race?
Good win, 3 deep the trip, but as Michael touched upon, it seems like he appreciates the galloping room. I think Brad Rawiller made the most of the situation in the sense that he knew Nero Dio was the horse to beat, and typical old school rider had Lochie in a pocket, wasn't able to move anywhere. The ride was what won Resort Man the race, I thought. Just having Nero Dio to his inside, hemmed away for a large portion of the race. By the time that Nero Dio got back around hills and got clear, then sprinted to the line, Resort Man was already off and gone and the race was over. Great ride, Brad Rawiller, and as Marty touched upon, well done to Laney and his team because they've done a wonderful job with this horse.
Marty, I've come to realise that perhaps being 3 deep out in clear galloping room might actually be best for this horse, as Laney has touched on, because it means, as he spoke about, it gives him no chance of over racing, and it means he settles a lot better. He's more fluent. He's smoother in the way he blends into the race, which I tend to think his pattern of over racing at times has cost him more wins in previous races over the course of his career. And looking back through his career best runs, Lochie, as you said, they've been 3 wide no cover, 3 wide last, or punching the breeze up on a hot speed at Ascot there. So absorbing the pressure and without the issue of racing fierce or keen, this is where he does his best work, and he's shown through the Idyllic Prince and the Bolton that he's a really serious racehorse when able to settle in the run.
Interestingly, race was ran at weight for age conditions. Yes. Resort Man, a 94 rater. Nero Dio, 105. Now, if I was handicapping this race, I would actually consider the manner in which Nero Dio was unlucky.
Yep.
And Resort Man beat him, but I think that was courtesy of, 1, a good performance, but 2, a very good ride. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Because you got Star Align in third. So what do you do with him as well? It's weight for age, so they have a different concept on how they handicap off a weight for age win. So interesting to see what the handicappers come up with it. We've got to keep pushing on. Race 9 was a Furphy handicap.
Past the 450. Over on the outside, Brooklyn Pier. Regal Magic's well back in the field with Carragini Aurora, the Thunder S, followed by Position of Power and Kia Aura Star. Hibiscus Lady headed by Weapon Sun at the 220. Weapon Sun on the outside. Vain Tempest coming between them though. It splits them in the middle. Vain Tempest burst through, grabbed Hibiscus Lady. Weapon Sun's runs come to an end and Vain Tempest draws away. Vain Tempest won from Regal Magic coming late. So did Position of Power to fight out the minors.
Okay, it was Vain Tempest, and well done to Takahiti Aikanishi. Ike, training his first Saturday winner. CJP pilots at home. Regal Magic, Position of Power. They both flew home with Hibiscus Lady and Weapon Sun up on the speed, wilting late.
I certainly did. I just was wrapped for Ike, and I don't dare try to pronounce his name. It's definitely a Perth Racing of 05 type of flavour that when he was booting home all those winners. Isn't that right, Marty?
That's about it.
You would have nailed it. But no, great result for Ike. First Saturday winner, as you touched upon, and Vain Tempest, box seated. I think a few good judges were on this mare, and well done to them because jumped well, put herself into an on-speed position, and from there got the job done.
Rode the conditions to a T in the last, did Clint Johnston Porter there, and once with the run that Vain Tempest got in transit, they were in a race where surprisingly to me they didn't go overly hard in front. She was always going to be very hard to beat. And in terms of the beaten brigade, as you said, Marty, the runs of Regal Magic and Position of Power were huge once again. Lucy really had to bide her time to find some room with Regal Magic. She was still trying to find room to let this horse go when most of them were being scrubbed and blending into the race and approaching the turn. But once she was able to get this horse to the outside, she absolutely savaged the line. Like, she has had a habit of doing this preparation, and although her racing pattern potentially hurts her at times, another win can't be too far away for her. She's absolutely flying, while Position of Power, who leading into yesterday, put in a couple of plain efforts on really wet tracks following his win over the 1200 metres 3 starts ago, and seemed to travel really well under Jason Whiting. And if he can draw a gate next start and there is still some rain around, he looks hard to beat wherever he ends up.
On Racing Rewind, it is time for the boys to look back and determine who are the black bookers, the ones to be on next start, the horses to follow.
two very obvious ones for me, but I think you're not only following them next start, you're following them all throughout their careers because I think they're well above average. Western Knight and Saloon Bar.
Can you black book a whole race?
Yeah, the whole race.
Yeah, that 3-odd race, yeah.
Exactly.
No.
Race number 2, just follow the form out of that. For me, for the meeting, I thought St. Torio and Saloon Bar are 2 horses you can certainly follow with confidence wherever they end up next start, and go forward for the Ganjimis back onto a dry track will definitely run you a massive race.
Riley, thanks for coming in today. Well done on the win yesterday.
Thanks, boys. No worries.
Subi kicked the goal too. See the name in the goal scoring sheet.
He was happy with himself.
Yeah, what about yourself, Loch?
I didn't kick any goals yesterday.
Didn't find a goal last night at all?
Marty.
Anywhere?
You can't say that.
I just did.
My grandmother listens.
Nice. And all the best to Lois and to Ginger Jane as well. Two of the...
They're your 2 favourite people on this planet Earth.
Yes, they're the matriarchs of our
I don't know if that's reciprocated from Nanny to you, though. I've heard her say some things about you.
She's got me well and truly top of the list.
Did you make a good dollar yesterday, Marty?
Not a good dollar, but a dollar. Leah Ernest to take us through the morning into the afternoon. Thanks to Sophie Stone as well. That's it for today.